All right, let's just jump right in. Imagine getting your hands on a manual, one that comes straight from the world of high-stakes interrogations and clandestine ops. And this manual claims to have the keys to influencing human behavior. We're not talking about simple persuasion here. We're talking a complete system for analysis, prediction, and, well, direction. Today, we're cracking open the Behavior Ops Manual.
And this right here, this is the core philosophy. It's not about winning arguments or convincing someone's conscious mind. No, it's about getting access to the most primal, automated parts of our brain. This one sentence really sets the stage for a set of techniques that are, let's be honest, incredibly powerful and, frankly, a little unnerving.
So you have to ask, why would a system like this even need to exist? Well, it was created to solve a really fundamental problem in the world of influence. A problem that drove interrogators and intelligence officers crazy, basically anyone who needed to get results and get them fast.
Now get this. The manual points out that the average false confession to a murder happens after a 16-hour interrogation. 16 hours! Think about that. The author spent his entire life wrestling with that problem, asking, how do you shrink that time down? How do you create that kind of profound influence without that massive, grinding investment of time and pressure? And this is the manual's huge, audacious claim, that while everyone else is fumbling around trying to pick the lock of human persuasion, it's suggesting there's a master key, a kind of admin password that just bypasses all our normal critical thinking and gives you direct access to our behavioral operating system. So how do you get this so-called admin access? Well, the manual's first step is probably not what you'd expect. Before you can even think about influencing someone else, it says you have to become what it calls an operator. And this isn't about learning slick lines or sneaky tactics. It's about fundamentally re-engineering yourself from the ground up. This quote just nails the whole idea. Our behaviors aren't random, isolated events. They're patterns. And those patterns repeat themselves in every single area of our lives. So to gain any kind of real authority, an operator has to start by doing a deep, brutally honest analysis of their own patterns. The manual argues your personal authority is built from the inside out.
And these right here, these are the non-negotiables. It's not about just acting confident, it's about cultivating a confidence so deep and unshakable that other people can actually feel it. It's about a composure so absolute that in any chaotic situation, you become the calm center. This is the foundation that everything else gets built on.
And this number, this just drives the whole point home. The manual claims that a staggering 80% of effective persuasion comes down to who you are, your internal state, your presence, your authority. The actual techniques you use, the words you say, that only accounts for about 15%. This totally flips everything we think we know about influence on its head. The most important work is done on yourself, long before you ever try to persuade anybody. Okay, so once the operator's foundation is solid, the next phase is learning how to read other people. And I don't mean just their surface-level behavior. We're talking about their deep, underlying programming. It's basically about learning to decode the human software. So, according to the manual, almost all of our adult behaviors can be traced back to which one of these three drives was the most important for us as a kid. Did we learn to get by through being super vigilant to avoid conflict and stay safe? Or by fitting in with our friends, our tribe? Or was it all about getting those rewards and recognition? These early strategies, it says, become our lifelong automatic patterns.
This is such a critical mindset shift. See, most of us see people as facts. Someone does something and we get frustrated because we see their behavior as a fixed, unchangeable trait. But the operator learns to see people as reasons. Their behavior isn't who they are, it's just the output of their programming. And when you look at it that way, judgment just evaporates, and the path to actually influencing them opens right up.
The manual is just filled with dozens of these little tells. And we're not talking about obvious body language like crossing your arms. We're talking about tiny micro behaviors. Did their fingers just curl inward when you mentioned that topic? Did their dominant shoulder pull back almost imperceptibly? According to the manual, these are little leaks from the subconscious mind, and the operator is trained to spot every single one. So you've mastered yourself. You can read the other person's code. Now we get to the active tools, the psychological and linguistic techniques that are designed to direct behavior with some serious precision. This is a massive, massive principle in the manual. See, our brains run on scripts for just about everything. They're mental shortcuts. So when you interrupt one of those scripts with confusing language or some unexpected action, the brain just scrambles to try and make sense of what's happening. And in that brief moment of scrambling, a little window opens up where the brain becomes highly, highly suggestible.
Now, this is really fascinating because it takes a concept we all know, grief, and reframes it as a tool. Think about it. The word decide literally means to cut off. So to make a new decision, you have to kind of grieve the old one you're leaving behind. This model is used to walk someone through that emotional process, guiding them through letting go of an old belief, which makes it way easier for them to accept a new one. And this quote from the famous psychologist Stanley Milgram, it just sums up the entire philosophy perfectly. The ultimate power isn't about forcing someone to do something, it's about shaping their perception. If you can control how someone frames and understands their own reality, their behavior will just naturally follow along. So ultimately, this manual presents a complete system, from mastering yourself to deep psychological programming. It all operates on this one core principle, that human behavior is a code that can be read, understood, and, if you know how, rewritten. Which leaves us all with a pretty profound question to think about. When behavior can be rewritten like software, what are the limits? What happens when you have the admin password?